Okay, watch this for Wednesday, October 26th. Before I go into the list, let's look at the SPY, and nothing really significant, right? We're still in just probably the middle of its last 3 weeks worth of trading, in the middle of that range. So as long as we have nothing significant one way or the other, we can just kind of go on and start with the list. I do want to highlight a couple calls from today real quick. CTRV was on the watch list. If you watched the video last night, it looked like this, okay? And I said we had a bit of a bottoming tail. I'm looking for that bounce to continue, and it gave us the perfect intraday setup. All right, it looked like this 15 minutes in. So you've got a nice narrow range sitting at yesterday's high, and this sell-off here and bounce was what made up that bottoming tail I showed you on the daily chart yesterday. So you had a really nice tight opening range. So a break of the opening range was my idea, because that also is a 2-day high break, right? A break of today's early trading and a break of yesterday's high. Literally was 5 cents risk. The idea was 188 right here at the top of this candle with a 183 stop. Look what happened. Just ripped all the way to 234. It's a 24% move in about 30 minutes. That's why I love the low-priced stocks. I always say Apple doesn't move, 20-something percent in 15 minutes. Some of these other stocks do. Well, maybe it was 20, 25 minutes. Anyway, that was my best call of the day. Oki, our oil guy in the room, called CLR. Literally called it right here below this topping candle, right below this kind of shooting star, with a short idea, 52.19 high of day stop. And he just basically picked the top clean. It fell to 50.96 from there. So $1, at the best, it went $1.23 in our favor on 18 cents risk. Excellent call by Oki. Obviously, there were other calls. We got an OPTT right around here. Got a nice percentage move. And there's always other stuff, but I try to show a couple highlights in these videos and then go into the watch list. That way you can get an idea of the kind of setups we look for on an intraday basis. CONN goes on the list for tomorrow. You had this pop here, and it's really just a nice flag. So it's sort of interesting over 1037, but I don't live and die by the daily chart. We'll see if it gives us a better entry setup tomorrow, or any entry setup at all. But I like CONN basically over this flag. CERC gapped up the other day, 2 days lower, but closed really strong today. So I want to watch out for a continuation of that bounce. OPTT, I just mentioned that one. I like the gap down and the 2-day pop, and then a pullback, and it's starting to move back up. So I like this one for a potential long, again, only with a proper intraday setup. UNIS had the big move here, and then a quiet inside day. Sometimes you get a third day play, so I want to watch that one. KOOL, now this is a little weird because had the gap up, and now you got a lot of people underwater. It actually came down into the gap. So, but on almost no volume. So it's a low float stock. It might just bounce tomorrow. I want to watch it. It's not the ideal setup. I would prefer it to be near recent highs instead of giving that back. But a lot of times, sellers start to get confident, and then the stock can turn and make late sellers have to cover, right? Late shorts have to cover. So that's kind of the theory on that one. MBRX, again, huge 2-day move here. Then 3 days lower. Bit of a bottoming tail today, so I want to watch this one. No trades in it today. It was on watch, but no trades in it. I want to watch it to continue this afternoon bounce tomorrow, so it's worth watching. DRWI, after this gap up on massive volume, it hasn't put in a green day since. In other words, the last 3 days it's closed below its open, kind of testing recent support. It's time to start watching this one for another move higher. A lot of times you get the gap up and then, and a pop, and then the stock goes into a range. So we'll see if it's going to test and kind of bounce off the bottom of this range. I can show you on 15-minute candles. It's probably cleaner to see. The bottom of the range right now is about 384. So it is, it's at that level. We'll see if it can give us a long setup tomorrow. BNSO, this one's a little obscure, but it's also interesting to me. It's been doing nothing, and all of a sudden today gets a pop. Gave back some of that pop, but a super low float and a little extra volume. Biggest volume day probably in 3 weeks. So let's watch that one. You can see what it did back here. Had a really nice run back here, back to support. So this one might be ready for a bounce or a follow-through day tomorrow. And then lastly, I've got TWER, which is a lower float stock. And I got to zoom in so you can kind of see it here. Nice volume today, and it closed pretty strong. I'm just going to look for a follow-through day tomorrow. And that's it. We'll look for gappers in the morning as well. Hopefully we catch a nice morning gap play. And what else did I have to talk about? There's just a few hours left. Sometime before I go to bed tonight, the end of the lifetime for the price of 1 year it'll be pulled off the site. And also wanted to mention our day trading course on December 3rd. It's going to be probably closer to 9 hours of material on Saturday, December 3rd. If you're interested in that course, you can find it listed on our website. There'll be more stuff in it than in the October 1st course. But if you are interested in learning what we do, every aspect of what we do, and how we focus on these low float plays, how we set up everything, and how we trade them, what to look for, how to find the morning gappers, everything's included in the course. We covered all of that in the October 1st course, and that is for a very limited time at a huge discount. And go to the website and you can see the difference between the two. The live course obviously is more expensive. There's a great discount on the recorded course. The live course, you always get to take our future courses. So there's one of the differences. The October course is a recorded version, so there will not be a Q&A for you. But we also are going to hold webinars probably once a month on Saturdays for anyone who's taken either version of the course. And we'll do, kind of some trade reviews for anyone that's taken the course, recorded version or live. And we're also going to, have Q&As on those monthly webinars. They'll probably be on Saturday mornings. And so even if you take the recorded version, you buy the recorded version at the discount, you will be able to have access to those Saturday webinars and ask questions about anything in the course. I'll be showing charts, over the screen share and explaining exactly the answers to any questions that you have from the course, or maybe from some trades that set up that week. So, all right, I'll leave it at that. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.